Let's meet the panel. Dan O'Donnell hosts the Dan O'Donnell Show on News Talk 1130 WISN out of Milwaukee. Hi, Dan. Melanie Collette hosts Money Talk with Melanie on 98.7 The Coast, New Jersey, and the host of the Steve Sanchez Show on I just blurred through that. Steve Sanchez Show on KDWN 101.5 FM and 720 AM, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's great to have all of you guys. You know, I know you've been following this. So Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, he's the guy who spots this so-called kill switch. It's a plot by Senate Republicans to essentially kneecap Donald Trump from negotiating an end to this war in Ukraine. And this provision, which is tucked inside the bill, would trigger the immediate impeachment of President Trump if he tries to make good on his promise to end the war within 24 hours. Dan, did Republicans just get played again? How do you read this?
I don't think they got played at all. I think this was what the governing coalition of Democrats and Republicans both wanted. Look, you had Mitt Romney stand up before the vote and say this is going to be the most important vote any of us ever take as senators. Afterwards, Chuck Schumer said this was the most important vote we ever took. Wait. What? First of all, I'm not even sure that it's even lawful to put an impeachment provision in a bill like this. But this is absolutely what the quote unquote uniparty has always wanted. I'm fairly certain that Dwight D. Eisenhower warned about the military industrial complex and perpetual war, I don't know, about 60 some years ago. This has been going on forever. And unfortunately, if we can't get a negotiated end to a forever war, America is going to be funding it. The other question I have is, wait, is America the only country that's actually funding this war? I thought this was a critical threat to Europe. Where are our allies in this?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I want you guys to see this list of Senate Republicans who obviously didn't listen to their voters. Do any of the names of these 22 surprise you at all? I mean, is this just Rhino Republican not afraid anymore of helping Democrats kneecap President Trump by voting against conservative values? What do you think, Melanie?
Now, I will say I'm super surprised by John Kennedy. That does shock me. I am. I'm surprised by that. However, I'm not surprised that this is going on, especially with the anti-Trump sentiment that's going on in the Republican Party. And it happens in politics all the time. You got to keep your head on a swivel in this game. That's just just the way it works. But I do think it's probably unconstitutional. Or heck, it might even be illegal. I mean, isn't that borderline extortion? If that's what you're doing, trying to compel a sitting president to do a certain thing or support a specific policy, or will impeach you. I mean, it sounds not only unethical, but maybe even illegal.
Yeah, it sounds like that's just standard operating. And it is weird twist of business sense, right? I mean, how does this work out? Donald Trump suggests we actually loan Ukraine and Israel aid, and any other country that might need our help sometime. Don't give it, loan it with the requirement of payback. I mean, Steve, why doesn't anybody in Congress ever think about, you know, tightening the belt a little bit?
Well, it's not their money. That's why. They like spending other people's money.
Right on.
I mean, it's simple as that. You've given them a credit card with no balance. There's no cap, so they're going to be like kids in the candy shop. And that's what they do. And I'm not surprised of Kennedy, to be quite honest with you, just going back to that. They're all a bunch of good old boys that are part of the good old boys club. And all they care about is their reelection every 6 years. It's the way it is, sadly. Maybe the American people, because it's our fault, we continue to keep electing them. Maybe the American people will finally wake up, primary these jokers, get them out of Dodge, and bring a new generation of people that want to serve. Maybe term limits will be, down the road. Who knows? But these guys don't surprise me. It's sad. It is. It's disappointing as well. Yeah. People are suffering in America.
Right on. Well, and it's funny because John Kennedy's favorite quote is, "You just got to try harder not to suck." So I don't know if he's looking in the mirror right now, but I don't know. Dan, you know, lots of talk, rightly so, about President Biden's declining capacities, the way he moves, the things he says. Just listen to Chuck Schumer to the rescue. I want you to listen to this.
His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong. He's going to win the election because he has a great record, because more and more Americans are seeing that record.
I didn't know you could put that much crap in one bag, but he did it, Dan.
You know, I would believe Senator Schumer that President Biden is totally fine if, I don't know, I didn't have eyes. Go back and watch Biden at the Democratic National Convention in 2016, or really any speech from about 8 to 10 years ago. It's a different man. It's a different man from 4 years ago when there were first questions raised about his physical and mental fitness for the job. Remember, he was he was in the middle of a basement campaign in the COVID election of 2020. In 2024, it's far worse. And it's not just thinking he's talking with dead French leaders or not remembering the year his son died or when he was vice president, things like that. It's the fact that he is just so much noticeably slower. He's so much more noticeably impaired when he walks or moves. It's beyond apparent. This is why the latest ABC News poll shows 86% of Americans believe that he's not mentally up to the task. I mean, I guess in one sense, Biden did succeed in his first term. His campaign promise was to unite all Americans. Well, now we're all united in saying, you're clearly not up to the job. 4 more years is out of the question. I'm actually worried about 4 more months.
I don't disagree with you. I think that's a great point. And Melanie, that whole well-meaning elderly old man with a bad memory, as Robert Hur described it, is this focus now on Biden's age, be the DNC's off-ramp from him, do you believe? Or do you think they're going to ride Joe Biden all the way into November? What do you think?
Oh, man, I think they are really stuck. Because if they don't have Joe in there, then they have to pick Kamala, because you know that the equity brigade will come after her, go after them for not tapping Kamala Harris, because who cares if she's actually qualified? You know, she's brown, so let's make her president. And she's a woman. So, you know, I don't know what in the gaslighting Jedi mind tricks the Democrats are trying to pull, but they need to stop. As Dan alluded to earlier, we can see it. We see him not doing well at all. But I do think that they are stuck. Who are they going to get? Gavin Newsom? You think they're going to put a white man in there over Kamala Harris? That's not a thing. They're not going to be able to do that. So, you know, I think they're stuck. And so I think I think right Biden out.
Right. I agree. Steve, you get the last 45 seconds. Are they going all the way? I think, are they going to off-road him?
No, I think the media and the party's turned on him, and they're trying to be respectful of all the 50-plus years he's been in and around D.C. So, you know, look, I agree that Kamala is definitely not qualified, but they knew what they were doing when they chose her to be on the ticket. And I think they're willing to roll the dice. And I think this is why you saw the legislation that the Senate passed to keep Trump at bay, because I think they know Trump's going to get elected in November. So I don't think it's even a matter of, you know, discussing. I think Trump's going to get elected. Biden's on his way out. And I think we'll see that at the DNC convention. He'll stay his term. But I got a feeling we're going to see the first woman president. And like Melanie said, it's not based on qualification. It's based on identity politics, social justice, etc.
I agree. Well, guys, hang tight. I want to talk about this, and it's a disturbing story for everybody. A woman walking into a church with her little boy and a long rifle. Why a Texas shooting is forcing an honest talk now about mental illness. Next on Common Sense.